Hey everyone, my name is Mafak Al-Kani and we're back again to another series of photography and videography taking. You're probably wondering why I have these two things present next to me, and that's because our video today is going to be about lighting. There are two types of lighting available. The first type is the natural light, which is like the sun. Did anyone open the curtain? And the other one is artificial, like these two guys. You might be wondering which light is best. Is it our friendly window, the sun, or are they these two lightings? Well, the answer is always the more natural the light that we have, it is always better. Can someone close the blinders? It's too bright, guys. Well, you might be asking, why if we have the sun, the best source we can ever have for filming, why do we have artificial lightings? Well, the answer is pretty simple. Sometimes we need to be creative to have different setups like dark dramatic scenes, history scenes, moonlight scenes, a lot of stuff that we need to create in one particular time, and this cannot be achieved in one set of light like the sun. Well, before we dive any deeper, you might be asking yourself, why should I know about lighting and how is it going to affect my photography or videography? Well, the answer is pretty simple. Photography is the science of drawing with light. That means you can create any scene that you want as if you are drawing with a brush on a canvas. You can create with lighting the scenes that you want to address to the people. And without that, you cannot convey your message. In the previous video, you learned about the exposure triangle. And you also learned that these three factors that are the basic principles in any DSLR or any camera, it is affected by exposure. So exposure, which is brightness, which is light, is the key concept for creating photographs and videographs. Another thing that you also need to know is that it also affects the quality. When we have a good lighting like these, you can see how detailed my So now that we know how important this is, let's dive deeper into the basic principles of lighting. We have three main components of light. We have the key light, the fill light, and the backlight. So the key light, from the word key, it gives the biggest bulk of light to the object, which is just exactly like this. So without a key light, what happens is that the object will be actually really dark, like that. So key light provides a really important bulk of light to the object. The other light is the fill light. From the word fill, fill light does fill the shadows that is casted by the key light. And without a fill light, we have a shadowed object, like here, for example. However, if we have a very high fill light, the object will be very lit up, and as a result, we will not convey the cinematic scene that we want because the key light is less than the fill light. So now that we highlighted the key light and the fill light, what gives the background of the object, which in this case is going to be me, and that is going to be the backlight. Why backlight is important? As we mentioned, it provides the background of an object. When we don't have a backlight, that means we only have outline of the object, but we don't have a third dimension, like now, for example. It's important to know that the backlight can be adjusted to be either bright or less bright, but this depends on how the scene you want to convey and the key and the fill light. Another thing that I want to draw your attention on is that you have to have the correct angulation to get the best results with these lightings. For example, the fill light, if it is located in this place, then I still have areas that did not fill up the shadow. So that's why it's important to make sure that you angulate it correctly to fill the shadows, like now, for example. Also, just for your information, I'm just putting these lights close to me so that you can see it on the frame in this camera. In real life, you don't really need to put it that close. In real life, you don't need these lights to be close to the object because I'm just putting it for you to see where they should be located or how they can affect the object, which in this case myself. In real life, you can put it very distant and still get the same results that you get when you place them close. And that is by adjusting the exposure of each of these lights. Plus, it will give you more room for you to control the cropping and the framing of your scene. The last thing I want to touch bases on is that sometimes you want to create a cinematic scene that is either dramatic, historical, or very cool, for example, or futuristic. Sometimes you can represent that by controlling the temperature of these lights, artificial lights. Other times, your scene can now be controlled by just the temperature, which is why you do need sometimes these things. Now, what are these? These are called coloring gels. These give you a broader control of the scene that you want to create. Let's say I want to be in a city. How does a city look like, for example, in the night? Does it look like this? Or maybe it looks something like this. When you see this, for example, it gives you a better cinematic scene that you can convey to the audience. So this is just an example. You can use any type of colors like this. It can look like that if you're camping in the moonlight, or like that if you're in the dark and you want to create a moonlight scene. Or you can make a retro scene like this, like if you're sending a message from the past. If you're seeing this, that means you're getting my message from the past. You are the key solution for the future. There is a big disaster gonna happen. Or maybe not, you're just watching that video. And that's a wrap. That's the key features for the lighting, how to adjust each light, and maybe to better control because that's still too bright. So now you know the difference between an artificial light and a natural light and how to create a good cinematic environment for your video. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in another video.